All right, folks. All right. We are the Crypto A team. If you got a problem in a trade, maybe you've been failed and let down by the psychics and the fortune tellers and the witch doctors, and no one else could help you. Maybe if you could find this broadcast, maybe you could find the Crypto A team. Bum, 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 with Crypto Z. Crypto Cowboys.
Don't forget Billy Bob.
Oh, God, Billy Bob. Are you still living it, Nick?
Yeah, I found a nice new home and a trash can in the back. Tipped it all over. And
Cowboy, you gotta get this guy evicted. I know there's a rule in Cali once they live with you for a couple of months and you don't have a rental agreement. It's like you gotta take them to court. When you gotta get Billy Bob out, man?
Oh, well, they went ahead and changed all the laws out here. They're communists now, so basically you can't kick anybody out.
Don't you know you can go live at a Starbucks now, Billy Bob?
I do live at a Starbucks, but that's just part time.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yep.
All right, Billy Bob, get back in your tent, dude. That's enough of you.
Yeah, send him away, man. Gentlemen, it's a Wednesday. We got some action going on in the market. It's not a whole lot, you know.
Nope.
Where do you guys want to be in?
Oh man, where do I want to be in? I'd say fiat, or actually at this point, Bitcoin might not be such a bad place for me to enter. Coming up soon, we are looking at the charts right now, and for the past long time, since before we actually rose above this kind of 7,500 mark, right? When is this? Back in April? Since early April, and maybe even before that, I've been calling that we're going to end up in the low 700s. And we peaked out at about 10 grand. And we ended up going into the 7,400s earlier this morning, about 2-3 hours ago. I'm seeing a lot of seller volume, not seeing any buy volume. So we could see a bit of a bounce at 7,500. And I think if we did, it's probably going to, I'm going to full screen this. Give me a second. I think if it did bounce at 7,500, then we would see something like a consolidation or sort of like a bear flag, like where it just kind of goes sideways for a minute and then goes down. So I think we're still headed towards 7,000, but there is some word out there that there are a lot of heavy buy orders in at 7,500. So it might just be that, we hang out here and we go. My rule is that I don't buy in until I have confirmation of bullishness, right? For example, on the way down here, you can kind of have an idea. You think maybe it's going to do this, do that, and then it stops bouncing around. This is an important area, the 8,300. And this happened, last week before. And people are like, hey, should I set buy orders? And I'm like, well, I don't know what you should do, but I don't set buy orders in a falling market. And the reason is I don't catch falling knives. And, look, what if the market continues to roll over? What if it continues to fall? Then you're stuck in an asset that's shrinking. So essentially, I wait until I see some bullishness. Like no one's ever going to catch bottom. I just wait until I see some bullishness and then I get back in. Trader
Boss knows how to catch bottom.
Well, I think Trader Boss's bottom knows how to catch, but we don't even know what that means. So we don't know what that means. So basically, we're looking for a possible bounce, some bullishness at 7,500, but I'm going to remain cautious. And the reason is that we're going to go back to my favorite chart that I've been showing everybody here since day one. God, I love being right. Let's see here. Where's my long view?
We called it at 9,400. Is a time that I got out a good chunk of my BTC out because Cowboy called 9,400. I believe he called it live too. And that was when I was like, okay, I think this is the time for me to get up. All right there, I think, Cowboy, right where you have that note that says BTC rejected at 10K, that bear flag, that little bear flag right there. Yep. That little note right there is when we were live right here, guys. And Cowboy indicated that we were looking at some sort of a bear flag sort of pattern, and he expected it to go down. Now, it's pretty funny because I actually was looking at some of the comments, and some people were like, oh, my God, Cowboy's full of shit. These are the guys that called, BTC going back to 7K. Ha, look at that. It's been only rising. And there you go, guys. You know, patterns played out, TA played out, and here we are. We're in 7K now.
Oh, yeah, and I actually lost I lost a chunk of money, a little over 10-15% of my portfolio because consensus week was here, and we did see some bullishness, and I actually bought back in against my own advice. Even one of mine and Z's TA buddies, when I told everybody I was getting out and staying out, he actually posted like this picture of a guy hiding underneath the desk, like I'm scared. Well, yeah, I guess, I could have gotten into a couple of things and made some money.
There you go. Danny, congratulations.
What happened with Danny?
Danny, one of the guys inside the Watches trade room, he listened to your call. He got out at 9,400 as per the call. And there you go, dude. He's sitting pretty. He's made, close to $2,000 on each BTC that he owns. $2,000 on each BTC that he owns, guys.
That's killer, right? And it's really fun when people in our room, like, they do their own research and they come out to like the same result as us, and then they end up getting in the same calls. Yep. And I modified the chart yesterday to put this arrow over here, but it turned out that I was actually closer to right, possibly the first time. Now, if you look, you see these heavy drops, and then you see kind of like this consolidation. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. You can kind of see better what I'm talking about. But you'll have a heavy drop, and then you'll have like a correction. You have a drop again, and then you have a correction, and then a drop. So what I did yesterday was, since I was still kind of in, and I called this out live to everybody, I told everybody what I was going to do before I did it, and then I told them when I did it. But one thing that I look for in an exit is I look for a break of structure. So, if you look back here, you'll see that there are some structural supports and resistances. I'll point these out on most shows where, you have a historical support, historical resistance. We actually bounced off of a historical, what is now a support. Now, once we broke that support, we created a new structure. That's when I got out. And this is at roughly 7,900. That's when I sold out. And then we're going to go all the way down. I think we're going to continue into this buy zone, which has, I've amended it a little bit, but essentially this is the same chart that I've shown people for a long time. So I'm thinking that it might have another one of these leg ups a little bit, and everybody's going to think that, oh, it's going to go to 28,000. And then we may drop again to this 72 level, which, like I said, I've been calling for a long time. So there you go. Unless anybody, Z or V, if you guys see anything different, please let me know.
No, I see exactly the way it is. It's kind of funny too. Matt's like going kind of crazy in your Telegram, so that just popped up.
You can actually see that on my screen.
Yeah, that's on the liquidation platform we're working on, guys. Matt's one of our guys that we're working on this with. I'm
gonna close that out.
You don't have to, now everybody sees everything.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing.
Right, cool. Now, anyways, so real fast, what I think is going to happen is I see it bouncing, just like you said, off of that 75 marker, rising back up within this wedge. What is really interesting, though, is that you're starting to see sort of a Kumo flip. You're starting to see sort of some bullishness. The RSIs are now heavily sold, both RSIs. So I think that we could see some sort of reversal pattern coming up right now. A lot of times, especially when you see 2 or 3 bear flags, a lot of times it's the start of a inverse head and shoulders. It could potentially play out that way, but we will be monitoring this, guys, and we will be giving you guys updates on it. But I could definitely see it playing inside of Cowboy's wedge right there and playing it up. Right now, the general consensus that Cowboy and I have both adopted is that essentially we think that the big fish are essentially keeping Bitcoin within a certain level, whether it's 7 to 10,000 or sub 10,000. We don't know exactly, but that's sort of the consensus right now. So yeah, that's what we're expecting.
Yeah, we've seen it. Z and I've been watching. We look at a lot of things. In particular, I'm like a child looking at a spinning fan, just completely mesmerized by the order book. So I like to go over to GDAX. I like to just watch the order book. I like to see what happens. And we're learning about the momentum ignition algorithm. So basically, when the market wants to take a turn, it takes a much heavier turn than it would have, and then it goes up mathematically 50% above the mean. And then what it will do is it will retrace towards the mean, but a lot of times that algorithm will push it back down, and you just kind of go back and forth. And when you look far away, it just looks like a regular chart. But when you look up close, you can see the Bart-Simpson heads. So, you know, right now I'm seeing a lot of selling volume at this juncture right here. So with a lot of selling volume, it doesn't look like it's time for the big reversal yet.
Nope.
You know, the big reversal has selling volume, buying volume like this big green candles, and I'm not seeing any of it. Now, typically in a less or non-manipulated fashion, when you see a symmetrical triangle like this, what you're usually looking at is once it consolidates, it's going to go up like this in a bullish sentiment market, or possibly down in a bear sentiment market. If in fact the big boys do want to range bind it, I think that it's always going to be, or at least for the time being, it's going to be between 5 and 10,000. It might be 7 and 10, 7 and 8, somewhere in that range. And as V points out, you know, Dex, I think Dex sees something similar. Is that correct?
Yep, absolutely.
You know, pretty much when Dex says something's going to happen, like probability is like really high. You know, so we hope we can get Dex back on the road here pretty soon.
An astrologist, though.
So I want to talk about LTC real fast. Cowboy, if you could actually bring up LTC. So on the last show, guys, we talked about LTC and how I spoke about LTC, and
it's such a pointless coin. But go ahead, Z.
You know, I indicated
so
how
it's worthless.
I really didn't like LTC in terms of fundamentals, but more importantly, the overall chart was not good. And last I think last a live session we had, or two sessions ago, we had a lot of people that were like, oh my god, no, you know, Trader Boss is essentially saying that LTC, or whatever, Michelle White Dove is essentially saying that LTC is gonna be $300 by now, or $400 by now, or some sort of dragon. Was it dragon? I think it was dragon. Crypto Dragon, or whatever his name is.
Schizo Dragon.
White Dragon. So as we can see, guys, it's May 23rd. There's no $300 LTC. And now it's actually gone down. And I indicated this. I told everybody that on the last show, or the 2 shows ago, I told everybody that the next draw line was going to be 129, and then afterwards it was going to be 121, and then it was going to go down to roughly 113 to 114. So right now, as you can see right now, guys, it's
actually, I have to update the chart. So give me 1 second. I'm sorry, bud.
No worries. So right now it's dropping, guys. It actually slapped down last night to 116, and Litecoin does not look good. I kept telling you guys over and over and over that Litecoin has no fundamental prowess to it that is allowing it to stand on its own. And that's where we want to get into coins. We want to get into coins that have enough strong FA where they can go ahead and survive without Bitcoin essentially rising. That even if Bitcoin is trading sideways, those coins can still rise. LTC doesn't have that. LTC is completely at Big Brother's mercy right now, and that is Bitcoin. So as Bitcoin drops down, LTC drops down. And if Bitcoin rises up, it brings up the USD price. But in terms of Satoshi price, which is what matters, which is the Bitcoin price, it is not going anywhere. Last video we talked about how LTC was at 161 to 160. Right now it's down to 159. Last night it dropped all the way down to 155 Satoshis, guys. So that's where it's at, guys. It's that simple.
Oh yeah, from a TA standpoint, I mean, what I'm concerned about with Litecoin, right, is that essentially it's on autopilot with no updates and nothing exciting. You know, we have basically like this sort of fractal downward wedge situation where it's downward wedge after downward wedge. It's going along this support, which is okay. However, I think that without any new FA, like this is, to me, what this kind of might mean, the way I interpret this, is you have this big run and then it's going to settle into a higher, like say, support. But once people get the clue that there's not much going on with Litecoin, especially your big boy investors, I'm afraid it's going to drop down to the lower support, which was established before the big run. So essentially, Litecoin is going to reset to pre-December paradigm. And that's not good.
Horrible.
That's very good. See, this support here is pre-December paradigm. New paradigm is supposed to be established here, but I don't know. We're going to see right now. And if Big Brother Bitcoin beats it down enough, then you can get the Big Brother Bitcoin beat down, baby.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't look good, guys. There's no fairy dust over here when it comes to that stuff. I keep telling people, look, guys, LTC does not look good. LTC does not look good. A lot of people in our room that joined in a lot earlier when we first launched out, we were calling exits on LTC from 150 going down, guys. And a lot of people got out, so a lot of people made, extra LTC. Even though you like LTC, we're not saying that LTC, if you want to hodl LTC, then please hodl LTC. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you can swing it at least, and make some more LTC even in your bag, and that's what we're here to do. So.
Yep, that's a fact.
That's a fact. I mean, simple as that. You can swing it, make more LTC. If you like LTC, then whatever, man. Just go stack LTC, I guess.
but Schizo Lizard said, "Crikey, I think LTC is going to be £7,000. That's approximately 14,000 US dollars by June, and there's going to be a massive massive rebound in June with BTC.
There you go, Lizard. There you go, Bridget. See right there, guys. Bridget, another new Watchers Trade customer. It's awesome. You got out of LTC. It saved your investment based on using a stop loss, and there you go. Now you can rebuy lower if you like LTC. It's that simple, guys. It's really that simple. There's no magic right here.
Jay Fushi is asking under 100, and that's over in the same area that's in our in the YouTube live chat. And under 100 is possible. 100 is an important support for Bitcoin, for Litecoin. Even in kind of like the worst at times, we've seen Litecoin still stay above 100. But just so you understand, if it does break 100, the next major historical support is $50. Okay?
It's to say accurately, it's actually $53. Oh my god, it is so bad right now, guys.
What you gonna do, brother, when LTC goes to $53 on you?
What you gonna do, brother, when you're out there trying to swing your hodl bag, but your hodl bag is almost half of what it was before? I don't know, Hulkster. What are we gonna do? Macho Man, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna get together all of my arm brothers, and we're gonna get out there, and we're gonna leave Litecoin behind.
But crikey, Schizo Lizard says otherwise.
Yeah, licking stuff off the cement.
God, anyways, guys, that is the gist of LTC. I just wanted to sort of point that out, guys. I really do hope that you guys listen, guys. This was given 100% for free. You did not need to be inside the Watchers Trade Room, guys, to get this entertainment. This was given out to free, like on V's show. And I hope that you guys listened. I mean, that's just how it is.
I'm gonna draw a different trend line on this. Give me a second.
I also want to look at Med.
Oh, wow. Do you want to look at? I got some.
Someone in the chat room says, I think Jiraj Brugos said it had a 30 to 40% run for the day.
Yeah, but you don't understand. So the way it works is that, guys, yes, did it have a 30 or 40% day that day? It did. But the problem is, guys, is that it went down so far down that at that point it's what they call a dead cat bounce. That means it bounces off the bare bottom. Literally, it cannot go any lower, because at that point, if it goes lower, it's actually worth less than what it was when it got listed on the exchange.
Well, actually, isn't that a trader boss call? And he knows all about things bouncing off bare bottoms, doesn't it?
It's one of those things where you cannot look at that, guys. Yes, did it have a 30 to 40% rise in one day? Yes, it did. But dude, it's already negative. Like 100% from its previous all-time highs. It's just not a good investment, guys.
Well, I mean, every dog has a day. Like, so you have a coin, and what happens with coins is they go through a hard time, and maybe they get down to like ICO price, and then once that happens, you have a whole bunch of people who are like med fanboys, and they're all kind of greasing each other up all day long, and they love their med, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's ICO price, we could get in. Let's average down. Like, okay, you guys, you're out. I'm not predicting the future. I'm just saying with Medcoin right now, it seems like you're averaging down into a black hole.
Well, it went up like 30% the other day, guys, and just yesterday in the last 24 hours, it's down 19.80%. Don't you guys see like what's happening right now? Essentially, it's a giant pump and dump. Like people are like, whether whoever it is, somebody with some influence shilled it and was like, hey, look, Med's at an all-time low right now. Maybe it's a good time to go pick some up. I still think this coin is going to be $100 in the future. A bunch of people bought in that didn't know better. Bunch of people bought in. They're like, oh my God, we're getting Med at 2 cents or 3 cents. It's great, 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 great. And guess what happened? They buy in, it pumps up the price, and then the guys that shilled it sell it, and then guess what happens? It dumps. And there you go, guys. It went right back down.
Yeah, we used to see a lot of pump and dumps back in the day, and that looks pretty pumpy dumpy to me. In fact, Yorad Brogos, he says he's super disappointed we did not put Med into the title of the video.
I know. We should have put Med as Med going to, freaking Mars.
It is going to Uranus.
Exactly, Bridget. That's and honestly, like, it happens to everybody, guys. Pump and dump, like learning about a pump and dump happens with experience. I myself went through a pump and dump where I lost, some money that was a lot of money back then for myself. As well. I when I first went into the crypto game, I didn't know very much about cryptos. I believe these guys that, didn't have the best intentions. I believed in their fish bones and chicken bones and all sorts of different bones. I got in, and guess what happened? I got dumped on, and it sucked, and I lost a few $1,000s, and I learned.
Yeah, well, the Med bone's connected to the pump and dump bone. With what I see here, just so everybody kind of sees it from what TA standpoint. What's really fun about TA is when you have a coin that doesn't have anything going on, it's a lot easier to predict things. So, because there's no FA to push it. The only thing that pushes it is general market sentiment. And in this case, there are two possibilities. And to be fair, one of them is positive, one of them is negative. Actually, there's more than two. But, we could have a dump down below to this level. But if we do stay in this upper wedge that we've been in for a while, we may actually bounce off here, come up to the top, return down this way. Now, in a bullish wedge, typically towards the end of it at some point, you do have some upside. And my belief is if Bitcoin has the upside, then Litecoin will follow. That's just how it is right now. However, there's always the danger with Litecoin just sort of being, it's not a dead project. There's talks of it, having its own mainnet and everything. I think it's just really, really late to that party. You could drop down. I don't know. All I can say is for every gain that Litecoin makes, for the most part, Bitcoin gains are better. Overall, you're going to have some times when Litecoin does, it'll outperform Bitcoin, but my money's on Bitcoin between the two. So that's Litecoin chart. Did you see anything else that we wanted to look at on Litecoin?
I just want to indicate, guys, once again, I'm trying to hammer this into people who listen to Rogue Money. That remember, once again, guys, Litecoin's fundamentals are absolutely terrible in my opinion. I pride myself, guys, on reading a lot of fundamentals. I average probably 3 to 4 white papers a week, if not more. And I've done a lot of research. I'm involved in a lot of ICOs, and Litecoin's day in like the spotlight is slowly waning down, guys. It's just that simple. And Litecoin needs to do something, or it's going to continue bleeding out. It's that simple, guys. And its price is showing it, and its market cap is showing it. If you actually look at the total market cap of Litecoin, Litecoin is now $6.8 billion, guys. It is continuously dropping. Yes, is the entire market continuously dropping? Yes, it is. However, Cardano ADA is around the corner. Like we said last time, ADA is supposed to release some, dApps as well as some like updated news here. And Tron with its mainnet, Stellar with a couple of updates as well. These coins are going to surpass Litecoin if Litecoin does not start picking up its pace. Before, at one point, EOS was kind of chewing at Litecoin's back, and now look at EOS. EOS dumped last night over 13%, and EOS is still $3 billion more than Litecoin. So it's one of those things, guys, where just do your research. Definitely do your research and definitely read some white papers. It will teach you a lot.
Yeah, actually, I do have a chart ready for EOS, but for the moment, I've got. I'm going to bring up Venn since we do talk about Venn quite a bit, and let me full screen this. So, oh hey, we have a nicer bounce from Venn than I expected. So the way that I had Venn going was to really follow Head and Shoulders TA. Venn was going to go down to about 42,350, 42,000 or so support. And I've actually had that going down since before I looked at the current version of TA. However, this TA here does have it's just another clue that it's going that low. The issue is that, Venn does have that strong FA, so that could push it. I did not re-enter yet. I was waiting for a bounce off of here, and we may still see it, especially if Bitcoin continues to do what it's doing. Because Bitcoin right now actually has gone back from the high 74s to 76. And of course, like we talked about earlier with Bitcoin, we may see a little bit of a rise and then another fall. We're going to find out, that's for sure. In the meantime, Venn has recovered a bit from this bounce. We are looking at the 6-hour chart, even though it says 4 hours. Coinergy is being a little funky right now. I'm going to reduce it down to a 2-hour chart. So we have a big, big run, and we broke structure low back here. So once we broke low, which is also the neckline, technically you can expect to drop this far. So we may see Venn, it may recover. If any coin could recover, then probably would be it before all the TA plays out due to FA. If not, then we're just looking at a sort of a retracement from the downtrend and possibly to this zone. I got out not that far from what the price is right now. I got out, I think, around like 49. Would have been nice to buy in at that low. And what we're seeing right now is because Bitcoin has like momentarily stopped falling, people are like getting confident in Venn. But now I bet you we're going to see another red candle come down because people are going to start taking profit on the 45 to 47 run. So they're going to get like a 4 or 5% gain and preserve profits in bear markets. So,
Correct.
That's what I see happening. But I don't know if Z or V see anything different.
So for Venn, just real fast, guys. I think some people wanted me to talk about wanted me to talk about the masternode in regards to Venn, guys. So the way the masternode works, guys, is that first off, you have to be inside the watches trade room. At least for the time being right now. The Venn masternode cutoff right now that I have, the date is for June 15th. June 15 is when I'm going to cut off the Venn masternode. Now, this is not set in stone, guys. I could very well cut it off early. I honestly didn't expect us to have such a large turnout for it. It turns out we got a large turnout for it, and we officially have the Millionaire X node. This is a very, very powerful node, guys. It gives us massive returns, but it also is the strongest economic node out there. What this gives us is that this gives us exclusive access and a good amount of it to all of the Venn pools, all the Venn ICO pools and crowd sales that they will be having. Everybody who's involved in this will be getting that. Everybody who's also involved inside the Watchers Trade Room will have first and second dibs towards these Venn ICOs. Now, another thing is in terms of the actual minimum to get into the node, there is no minimum to get into the node. All you need to do is you need to be a Watchers Trade customer. You need to get into the Watchers Trade Room, and then you need to join the Venn room inside there, which is totally free. It's part of the Watchers Trade Room, and then you can get the details on how to participate into the Venn node. It's just that simple, guys. But you have to be a Watchers Trade member. It's exclusive to the Watchers Trade Room. And you will not get access to any Venn X node out there. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, this my goodness, excuse me. What Z is doing here is like unheard of. I don't think you're going to find this anywhere else. And there will be further opportunities like this. Is that correct, Z?
Yes. Exactly. You're not going to get this opportunity, guys. It allows you to, get involved in the whole Venn aspect. Venn's got some very, very exciting ICOs coming up. One of them is BitOcean, which is actually going to get the actual marketing people that did Venn itself are going to be marketing and being involved in BitOcean. This is going to be very, very big deal, guys. And I personally am going to go very, very large into BitOcean. because I really like the project, I really like the team, and I think it's gonna give us some extremely good gains. Now, to be involved in this, though, you need to be part of the Watchers Trade Room. You need to be involved in the Venn Masternode, and yeah, the only way to be involved is to be a part of the Watchers Trade Room. Simple as that.
Yep, that's a fact. That's really the only way to get a lot of information, much like what you're seeing here today for free.
If you want info on the Venn node, guys, just so you know, we have a full report. I actually wrote an entire report on Venn, guys. So if you guys are a part of the Watch Trade Room, you guys will get a full report explaining Venn, explaining, you know, sort of the payout structure, what we expect to get, the formula behind it, you know, all the details you really need. And on top of it, of course, Cowboy and I are always inside the trade room, so you can just ask me questions. You can just ask me directly questions. You can PM me. You can write inside the Venn note room any questions you have, and you know, you will definitely get them answered.
Oh, Z loves answering questions.
Like yeah, I love it, dude. I love it. It's what I live for. So, it's also the reason why I'm drinking like my 8th coffee today.
Yeah, a lot of questions about Venn. I think people see the value, so of course they're going for it. Looking at Juan, I think what we're seeing across the board right now is Bitcoin is sort of taking a break from its fall. So you have a lot of people who they're buying in right now. Maybe it's, you know, they just hit their cost basis and they think they're averaging down, and they may very well be. So Juan is taking a break from its fall. However, if you look at the metrics, it didn't look good earlier. Right now, with this is on the 6-hour chart. The MAC is starting to curl up a little bit. You're having a little tiny double bottom on the RSI, and I'm going to erase some of these now that they're not valid. And then we're also seeing not much happening with the stochastic RSI. Now, if that's the case, I mean, if the thing is really falling and we're going to continue to see a nasty fall, then these things are not going to matter. I did call for like a sort of a consolidation, like a sideways run at the 55,000 Satoshi support. And it looks like that's what we're about to see right now, as long as Bitcoin takes its break. The rest of the alts will probably take their break from falling. However, I can tell you, if Bitcoin really decides to take that last bit of dive down to 7,000 or 7,200 or whatever that is, we do risk seeing these alts go down a little bit further. But I have a lot of friends in TA right now that are just, they're like, hey, everything's on discount. We think this is it. We're going to buy in. And they may very well be right. So even with Venn, Juan, it's possible that they're definitely discounted, I'm pretty sure. Unless we see a catastrophic drop in the crypto market, then most of your good stuff is discounted right now.
Yep.
So, I mean, do you guys see anything different on Juan that I just pointed out? Or?
No, you know, Juan is definitely one I'm going to be looking to pick up as soon as I see some confirmation of bullishness, guys. You know, we inside the room rode Juan up from 41 all the way up to like, I don't even know what the top was. It was very high. It was like 110 or something. So we got more than 100% gain on Juan, guys. Juan still has very, very strong FA. They have 6 new dApps being built this summer. The first one is coming out here relatively soon. It's a wallet. I believe it's called Curve. And it's okay. I like it. I wish its team was a little bit better. It's called Crypto Curve. But in reality, it's not the best. It's not the strongest team that I would like to see. But of course, it is Juan's first ICO, so maybe it'll get a lot of love that way. But you know, regardless though, Juan's got some big ones coming out behind it, and I think I think around this summertime, midsummer to end of summer, Juan should do very well.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I think Trader Loss has some big ones coming up behind him too. So we got. Let's see here.
Gosh, man.
We got PPT. You know, I wanted to pull this out because we talked about it a couple of days ago, and pretty much what I thought would happen is happening. Although or not. Okay, so I thought that actually we might continue along this trend line, and we actually broke it. So my secondary plan is what seems to be happening right now. So this is actually an unchanged chart from the other day. So we are seeing a fall through, which just kind of is everything's falling right now. Look, the thing about PPT is they do have some successful testing going. So that's good for them. Unfortunately, I think that their name has been so heavily soiled that we're not necessarily going to see that huge rise like we saw recently. So, that's just what happens when you don't keep your word. So
That is a disgusting looking graph.
that's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
That is pretty darn bad right there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll tell you guys what. If it hits 162,000 Satoshi, I might buy in. That's
you will?
I might buy in.
That is very, very low, man.
It's low, but look at. Well, I'm gonna move this up. That's such a strong support. See all this back here before the big rise, before this big spike here. So that's a really strong support, historically strong. So if we break this support at this part in the game where they're actually having successful tests of their product, I don't see it happening.
Is there any sort of news or FA strongness behind PPT that we should be knowing?
Not that I know of, but I sort of stopped paying attention to PPT. PPT and their team really disappointed me recently. So,
yeah, it's a shame.
It's a shame, but I mean, look, here's the thing about this, and this is, I don't want to sit here and rag on PPT. We've done a lot of that on this show. I actually think it's a good crypto. I think it has a good future. I think it's going to take a long time. But this is what happens when you break your word. And this is also what happens when you, when you're not communicating with your people, because that's what Z, what is the most important aspect of an ICO?
I say it time and time again, guys. If you want to launch a successful ICO, and you can try to take this as some sort of opinion of mine, and I've been involved in a lot of ICOs, guys. I've been involved in a lot of quote unquote coin building, and communication is number one, guys. I don't care whether you have the best product in the world. If you're not communicating, your investors are going to lose interest in it. It's just that simple, guys. And I mean, that's just how it is. And unfortunately, PPT is not doing that. They're not the best at communicating. They failed to communicate, and that's why it's kind of hurting. It's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's too little, too late. Nico did start to communicate once. How do I put this? So it was like he failed the midterm, and the best he's ever going to get is a C. Right. That's kind of where it's at, like with him. Now that he might be able to pull it around next quarter and get himself an A, but right now he's failed the midterm, and the best he's going to get is a C. That's if he aces the final. And quite frankly, I don't have a ton of confidence that he will ace the final. I'm sorry. I know you guys love PPT. I wish I could see a graph or a chart of PayPy. That would be nice to see. I just can't find one on
PayPy actually right now is hurting a little bit too right now. I think it's also in the sense that PayPy also doesn't give very much communication too. So PayPy doesn't give very much communication. What PayPy likes to do is that PayPy likes to essentially not hype it up at all, and then over deliver. So as soon as they started, their last announcement was about the fact that there was integration with QuickBooks, a very, very large entity. So that's what I like about PayPy. If you're not going to talk, guys, that's fine. You don't have to talk, but don't promise things and then don't talk. That's the problem that Populous face. Populous promised that they were going to hit these landmarks, they were going to go live, yada yada yada, and then they didn't have any communication when they didn't make it. PayPy is not doing that. PayPy is just not communicating at all. And when they do, it's on something big, which I don't actually mind so much. I'd rather have it that way than promising and under delivering.
Yep, I'm with that. Okay, so initially, Populous actually did really well. They didn't say much, but they were able to show some sort of results. Like they had this deal and that deal and the pricing jump, and it really was kind of like there's some rocket fuel. And Crypto Z and I to take advantage of that. But the first sign of trouble was some of their I don't want to what's the term on the timeline. What do you call those things? Benchmarks. Their benchmarks were not met, and that's when the confidence faded. So enough kind of ragging on Populous. I think it's still a good coin. I don't want to upset our audience.
I refuse to think it's a good coin, but Cowboy loves it. Cowboy was actually the one who told me about Populous. And I did invest into it, and I did make a lot of money off of it. So I can't hate it for that way, but it's just the essay is not very good. And guys, that's why we keep telling you guys that that cryptocurrencies is still in its infancy, guys. that, you know, the fact that a coin like Populous, you know, it can be taken down, its price can be taken down just because they didn't communicate with, like, you know, the crypto community, just shows just how small the crypto community is. So remember, if you're not going to communicate, you know, the price is just going to drop. It's just that simple, guys. It's just that simple. The SA is so important, and so many charters, so many TA guys forget just how important SA is, guys. I cannot stress that enough.
Yep.
One person had a talk about Zebi. I think there was somebody inside of here that talked about Zebi, how Zebi was the icon of India. First off, let's not say anything is anything of any region, guys. You know, I hate how people always say that, like, you know, it's the ETH killer, or like it's like the ETH of Norwegian. Norway or something, you know, the Norwegian ETH or something, you know, like, it's one of those things, like, come on, guys, you know,
It's
ETH is
quite
ETH.
hello. This is Schizo Lizard. It is actually the ETH of Uganda.
Oh god. So just so people know, Zebi is really interesting. We cannot chart Zebi though, because Zebi is not available to chart on Coinigy. It just simply isn't. It's not on any big exchanges yet, guys. I think the biggest exchange it's on right now is Hotbit, which isn't, like, I wouldn't really trust Hotbit, quite honestly. But after that, it's on IDEX.
Well, there's Zebi for you.
Yeah, there you go. So Zebi had a massive pump, guys. There's a lot of hype behind Zebi. Zebi is still in price discovery. It is still very, very new. I chose not to get into the ICO just because at that time I was getting into a bunch of other ICOs. But Zebi does have a strong team. Its fundamentals are strong. India is very undervalued when it comes to cryptocurrencies. People forget that India is the second largest population in the world. You know, at the end of the day. So yeah, Zebi is one to look at for long term. Right now, at the time being, though, I don't see any strong FA behind it to keep it going up. I think that you're going to see some trailing down for a little bit until you know, price discovery has been met and they release a few more things.
Yeah, it's you know, I've noticed this even with cryptos that have really good FA. They hit an exchange or they become released somewhere. And all they pump, everybody buys it. Nobody knows where the top's going to be, and they FOMO, and then they just crater down. That's just how it is. And so what we're seeing right now is it looks like a giant wedge, and then you have this volume now. Unfortunately, with the rudimentary chart that we get off of CoinMarketCap, we don't know if this is buyer or seller volume. I'm guessing seller based on the price. So yeah, I probably would hang out and watch Zebi. That's the most I would do with it.
Yep.
So TRX is important to look at right now. I think right now, based on what we've been seeing in the past week or two, TRX, which CryptoZ called, well, a long time ago, but especially he called it again because of the mainnet coming. Once Bitcoin calmed down, this morning I called it bouncing off this line, and sure enough, that's what it did. It bounced a lot more quickly than I thought it would. Big old green candles right up into here. So personally, I think that there's a chance we'll see a retracement and then another, another bounce upward. That's probably what we'll see.
I see that. Personally, my, my strategy behind, actually, no, I'll just save it for the room, guys. I gave my strategy on what I'm going to do personally for TRX. We called TRX sub 790. Averaging down, I averaged down from 790 down to 750 or 740, I believe. And we've just been riding it nicely up, and its TRX has been very strong. This is where we talk about how strong FA and strong SA plays into the market, guys. And we've got TRX having its mainnet here on the 30th, I believe, or the 31st. I believe that TRX is going to go. I still think TRX might go as high as 11s or 12s even. So we shall see.
We shall. And what to? Oh, I mean, we actually CryptoZ and I were talking about 11s and 12s both. 11 being a recent high. Have we ever? Is that ATH 11?
11 might be ATH. I'm not entirely sure.
It's definitely a recent. It's a recent high.
Yes, correct.
So and that recent structure high, see here. I mean, even just based on what I'm looking at right now, the only reason that we're dipping as hard as we are is because of, Bitcoin madness, Bitcoin dominance, but we already went above the 786 on this. So, I mean, wow, we could be looking at something pretty hefty. As far as the way that I did TRX, well, actually, yeah, I'm not going to really say what I'm doing. We'll save that for the room.
Yeah, we'll save it for the room. I mean, the room, the room has been with TRX for a while now, guys. For those of you inside the room, you guys know the strategy, and that's the strategy I'm going to be, participating in, coming up. And I think that, everybody who got into TRX when we got in, we're up essentially above 20% gain right there. And it's been holding up even in this storm, which is fantastic. I'm looking at my portfolio. My portfolio has dipped a little bit in USD. However, the Satoshi value of my portfolio has risen up because of TRX and has been keeping up because of it. So, as soon as Bitcoin decides to stop acting up and start rising just a slight bit, I should see that USD value come back.
And a quick look at probably just one or two more coins, and then we'll move on. A quick look at EOS. EOS had just this massive, massive rise, and we all made a bunch of money on that. That we all being me and CryptoZ. And then if anybody else's research happened to match ours, they also made the money. Now I'm looking at a bounce literally off of fib levels. I mean, it's like couldn't be any cleaner almost. We do have a support that's a little bit lower than the current fib level. We have a support that's kind of sort of in this area, which is the 13K area. So we may see a dip as low as that. I actually had it dipping to 14 in one of my recent deals, and it looks like we have some bullishness. But again, I think even in this case, not normal with EOS, but in this case, I think it's going to be dependent on BTC. And then BNB, I saw an opportunity in BNB, and it's actually been not performing too badly. What I'm seeing with BNB is a downward wedge, and those are usually pretty bullish. They usually end up bullish. So I called that I was going to enter around this, what did I say? Not here. It was higher. I called I was going to enter around like 16.8, 16.9, and then I got stopped out because we're still sort of forming this wedge. Now we're getting a better idea of what this wedge is going to look like. So I was stopped out, and then I did enter with a small amount according to a call that I made this morning. I think we're going to end up bouncing off of here, and then eventually we might pop through now or later. But BNB is just such a great coin. It's like we talked about the last show. It's not really quite affected by BTC as other coins are. So
it's almost, BNB is really interesting. So I actually got into BNB at 70 cents, guys. And it was one of my early plays as a young trader. I was impatient because I didn't understand patience. I didn't understand what patience was in a sense. Opposed from like your typical holding, to crypto trading. Even though it's crypto trading, you still need to exercise a certain level of patience. And I did understand that. And so I sold BNB, I think at like $2.50, thinking I was amazing. And then I made some great gains, but obviously right now it's way higher. BNB is really cool because BNB essentially Binance themselves, the exchange themselves is going to be buying back their tokens every single quarter, I believe, or every single half a year. They buy back their tokens off of the exchange and then they burn them. So every single certain period, I need to confirm the period, they actually, the circling supply is actually burned. So it's actually dropping in circling supply, which brings the volume or brings the actual value of the coin up. And every single time you use the coin towards 50% discount transaction fees, that coin gets burned as well. So the coins have been going down in value have been going down in supply as time has passed, guys. And so BNB is a coin that I believe in the future, especially in the long run, will continuously grow in value, especially if Binance finally gets China's regulations out of its face, and they can really implement what they originally wanted to implement, which was to be a platform for dApps to be built on. That's essentially what BNB was originally supposed to be. They had to stop that because of the whole China scandal, really. So,
Oh yeah. Oh dude, I remember the first time we bought BNB, man. Like this is back when I was like stuck into swing trading PPT, which I made a bunch of money doing, by the way. But Z calls me up one day, he goes, dude, why don't you just do like we used to do and like buy in some coins and ride them? I'm like, and then Z's like, okay. Z's like, I highly suggest, this was Z's language, I'll never forget. I highly suggest that you buy some BNB. So I threw like a few grand at it, which at the time was a lot of money. And like all of a sudden we're just watching this thing explode. It was a lot of fun.
It was just constant. At one point, guys, when BNB first got listed, it just rose up. It didn't drop at all. It was just a complete like diagonal line up. It didn't raise up like crazy, like 100% gains or anything. It was just a continuous trajectory up, like over the course of like a few days to a week. And then I was just like, oh my God, there's no way this can continue. And of course I sold, and here we are.
And we could see a jump out of this wedge. We will eventually see a jump out of this wedge, very likely. There's a high probability right now. There's a lot of bullishness in the charts and the indicators, and it should head up to here, and it may continue. But what is really interesting about BNB, before we, and this will be the last coin unless anybody, Z or anybody V, you want to see something else. But let me go out to the daily. BNB, get rid of this noise.
Schizo Lizard just contacted me. He wants to see Dragon.
Schizo Lizard. Where's Schizo Lizard from? Is he British? What is he?
Something like that.
I don't know, man. He's
from down under.
He's from, and while what's it called? Cowboy is talking about this, guys, real fast, just so you guys know the power of like Satoshi versus dollar. BNB, guys, which we've indicated is a very strong fundamental coin, doesn't really follow Bitcoin so much. BNB actually has not dropped in Satoshi value since its previous all-time highs. If you actually look at coin market cap and look at BNB, if you actually look at the Satoshi value and how it's versing Bitcoin, it's actually doing very, very well. And it's actually
right here on the daily chart.
Pull that. I mean, there you go.
And this is, so the daily chart, each one of these bars on the daily chart, that's 1 day's worth of price action. And literally what we're seeing is like downward wedge to hard, basically this thing's a fractal. This is a giant fractal, dude. Look at this. Downward wedge into hard pump, downward wedge into hard pump, big downward wedge into slow hard pump with hard pump downward wedge.
Looking inside. Like a cup and handle right there, my man.
Cup and handle is one way, and it is a cup and handle. And you know what else it is? It's one of my favorite formations. Let's take a look.
Oh, geez. You gotta call like dinosaur pattern or something?
I'm gonna call moonshine on the rock pattern. No,
but real fast, guys, it looks really good. As you can see right here, guys, BNB, long-term, very, very strong coin. Its BTC value has not lied, guys. It is very, very, very strong coin fundamentally, guys. As you all know, Binance absolutely took the game, the whole cryptocurrency market by storm. It is a very, very new exchange comparable to its other competitors, and it's done so well for itself. I personally love Binance. I almost exclusively trade on Binance, and there you go. It's looking fantastic, and I really think that BNB has a very, very bright future. And this is going to be essentially one of my long free calls that I am essentially giving here in the live YouTube video. I really think that BNB is going to continuously do well, and I think that come probably like Q3 when they do another burn, I could see BNB being upwards of, especially if Bitcoin recovers, I could see BNB being upwards of $20 to $30.
Well, yeah, I mean, so if you listen to guy Jaeger Binance over on Reddit, he does say that the burn and the buyback are performed at the same time. It's not announced until it's completed, and historically it's been about the 14th or 15th after each quarter. So June 14th or 15th. I mean, we're coming up on June. If that's the case.
Coming up on June, guys. We're coming up on June. Remember, guys, what we try to do in the room, guys, is we try to be proactive and not reactive. When you're proactive, guys, you're setting yourself up for greatness. And when you're reactive, you're reacting against the market. And a lot of times, guys, there's bots, there's big players involved, and you cannot react fast enough in this crypto market. I'm sorry to tell you that. If you're reacting against this crypto market, that's how people bleed out. That's how people lose money. That's how people bleed out. That's how people sell at lows instead of selling at highs and buying at lows. And that's what we try to, hammer down inside the Watches trade room, guys. Is to set those stop losses. Is to, take profit. That's what we are there for.
Yep, give nothing back. That's what Dex says. I agree with it completely.
I gotta start looking up. I gotta start reading more about Dex or listening to him a little bit more. I'm interested. I know nothing about Dex.
V, when's he coming back? When are you done with your Tuesdays with the Giscu?
I'll be done. I got I think this coming week is going to be my last Tuesday, so we should all be back on schedule.
Awesome.
Yeah, we gotta get Dex back to that guy's the man.
Yeah, and just so you know, guys, there is a fixed number of BNB. That's just it, right? So it's a fixed number. They're gonna buy them back. They're gonna burn them, and they're not creating any more, guys, because it actually makes Binance lose money. Remember, guys, if they are giving out giving out discounts based on BNB tokens, they are losing money as an exchange. Obviously, they're in the game to make money, so they're looking to buy it back. So yes, supply will be cut.
And remember what Leonidas on 300 said. Remember that.
Give them nothing, but take from them everything.
There.
So awesome, dude.
No, BNB is not too late, guys. As Cowboy said, the burn is roughly around like June 15, so you have a little bit of time, guys. If you guys like to play the long game, that's something to look at. Cowboy did give a free call out here on BNB. I personally think BNB's fundamentals are great, guys. And typically when Cowboy and I link up together and, we're on the same page on things in terms of FA, SA, and TA, guys, good things play out. And they've been playing out that way. Just that simple.
This thing is a charter's wet dream. I mean, take a look at this thing. It is a straight up fractal with it's got all this like we talked about earlier. And if it does follow the pattern I'm seeing, then let's see if I can I just want to have some fun with this for about 10 seconds here.
Cowboy needs to get out of the house more often.
This is my entertainment. Well, you freaking entertainment. All right.
Yeah, is that Joe Pesci?
That's Joe Pesci's in the house.
Hey,
everybody. I'm over here. I'm learning how to freaking shot. All right, leave me alone. I'm learning how to shot. You stupid bastard. So yeah, we could see possibly. I mean, this is kind of a rudimentary way to do TA, so don't do this at home, kids. But the next big run could be as high as about double the current price.
Oh, yep, and double the current price is what, guys? Double the current price is roughly about $30, 20, 24, 25, $30, and that links up with what I think it's going to be from a fundamental standpoint, guys. So anyways, that is our little snippet that we're going to give, guys. That's all.
That's it.
And with that being said, folks,
that's simple.
Go to www.thecryptoschool.io. Click the Watch Us Trade Room. Join the trading. Make some money. Make it happen for yourself. And with that also being said, if you need a education on cryptos, well, there's the video education series over at the Crypto School. You can click that. There's about 15 to 20 videos there. And we have a local community Slack. Either one of those things, there's a lot of great entertainment, a lot of great information. And again, there's nothing here but just two talented guys who bring the ruckus when it comes to technical analysis and fundamental analysis. They're in it to win it. And everybody who's been with us in the trading room for the last month has made off with dividends, while everybody else is literally every morning wake up and they crap their beds. And then they say, I got a hold for their life.
Yep.
Ain't none of that hold business here, man.
And let's remember, in this last few days, we have seen a lot of blood. And at the same time, we're calling killer winning trades. Even in these last few days, either it's, somebody like me who's on the conservative end, I'm just kind of sitting on the sidelines, letting everything fall. People will use Tether, they'll use USDT. Some people have ways of getting into fiat. to preserve their book. And then you have the other end of it where, oh, well, we think this is going to go up and we get these winning trades. And if you noticed over the past few weeks, the last, 2-3 weeks, we've had a lot less calls. Most of the calls that we have are going through in a positive manner. And I'm looking around at other rooms, some of my buddies that have other rooms, things like that. And I'm seeing a lot of calls just, oh, we're stopped out. Oh, trade closed. Oh, stopped out. Well, okay, that's awesome. Trading is not always doing something. So people have this idea like, okay, go to work. If you don't start doing X, Y, Z, the boss is going to yell. So you got to do something. No, trading is a different story altogether. Trading is where you have to know when and how to do something. And then you, in the meantime, in times like this, where you're just kind of like looking at the sidelines, watching stuff fall, you're doing research, you try to, find something new, whatever it might be. Maybe you got some other work to do. So, this is the part where patience, like CryptoZ was talking about earlier, comes in. So, but the last thing I have to say is thank you, everybody. I'm always in a state of gratitude, having everybody in the room. I know they always thank us for what we do, but we thank you for being here, because without you, we don't have nothing.
That's right.
Yes. Okay, well, so stand by, guys. If you guys want to be involved in Venn, come join us, guys. Remember, the cutoff, guys, is June 15th. That is the final cutoff. I was even thinking about cutting off potentially even earlier, guys, because I really did not expect this overwhelming number of people to join. So I was thinking about cutting off earlier. So don't hesitate, guys. Get in. Learn a little bit of trading, but also, get involved in Venn if you want to be involved in the Venn program. It's there, guys. And yeah, June 15th is the absolute cutoff time to be inside the Venn Masternode program.
With that being said, we're over now.